The Supreme Court handed President Donald Trump 2 major victories on immigration. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, June 26th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. President Trump returned to office on a campaign promise to carry out the mass deportation of immigrants. Yesterday, the Supreme Court's conservative majority gave him new tools to pursue that agenda. In one ruling, the court cleared the way for Trump to lift temporary humanitarian protections, known as TPS, that allow hundreds of thousands of Haitian and Syrian migrants to remain in the U.S. The decision is expected to reverberate beyond those 2 communities and affect approximately 1.3 million immigrants from 17 countries who have been living legally in the U.S. In a separate ruling, the justices found that migrants arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border are not entitled to apply for asylum until they cross into America. That means border agents can turn them back at the border. That ruling prompted liberal Justice Sonia Sotomayor to read a dissent from the bench, indicating that she strongly disagreed with the majority. In the next few days, the court is expected to rule on another critical decision on whether to limit birthright citizenship. Iran attacked a cargo ship in the Strait of Hormuz. That's our second story. A United Nations maritime agency has been encouraging ships attempting to cross the Strait of Hormuz to use a new route which passes close to Oman. But yesterday, according to U.S. officials, a Singaporean-flagged ship was attacked on the route by an Iranian drone. The ship reportedly suffered damage to its bridge, but no one was injured. Iran had issued a warning about using the new shipping lane, and said in a statement that safe passage through the strait was limited to routes designated by Tehran. The attack is dampening hopes that shipping traffic might take advantage of the UN-backed passage following a U.S.-Iran ceasefire deal. The UN's maritime agency said the attack had led it to temporarily pause its evacuation plan for more than 11,000 seafarers still stranded aboard ships in the region. Number 3. Rescuers are racing to save hundreds of people trapped under rubble after Venezuela's earthquakes. On Wednesday, Venezuela was hit with 2 back-to-back quakes. At least 250 buildings collapsed, and so far, the death toll has risen to at least 235 people. Now, rescuers and volunteers are working to desperately search for survivors beneath the rubble. In some places, heavy machinery is scarce. That means locals are using whatever tools they can find to try and carve through concrete. The government's ability to respond to the disaster is also limited. The country is cash-strapped and infrastructure is decaying. And in January, the U.S. captured and removed its president, Nicolas Maduro. The U.S. has pledged to send search and rescue teams from Virginia and Los Angeles, as well as $150 million in aid and military deployments to handle logistics. Number 4. New York City passed a rent freeze on about 1 million apartments. This freeze was a key pledge of New York Mayor Zohran Mamdani's campaign and agenda. It was passed 7-1 by a city board yesterday. The vote was met by cheers from tenants and tenant advocates.
The motion passes.
The decision freezes rents for up to 2 years for about 1 million rent-stabilized apartments. That makes up about 40% of New York's housing stock. Landlords and real estate representatives criticized the decision, saying it could drive some apartment buildings into bankruptcy. But Mamdani called the vote a historic victory for New York City tenants. It also represents another major victory for Mamdani and the Democratic Socialist movement. This week, candidates affiliated with that movement won several high-profile congressional and state legislative races in the city. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. tried to push a third-party candidate out of a House race. That's our fifth story. Republicans are fighting to try and keep control of Congress in November's midterm elections. According to a call obtained by the Post, the health secretary has been playing a role in that effort. In the call, Kennedy urged Rick Stewart, a Libertarian candidate in Iowa, to drop out of a competitive House race. Kennedy suggested he could help Stewart if he left the race, and said Stewart should ask himself the same question that Kennedy did.
Is it more important for me to run as an independent, make a point, or could I make an agreement that puts me in a position where I can make a real difference in people's lives? That's all.
When Stewart said he had no idea what kind of opportunities would be available to him in Washington, Kennedy said, "I can't go into specifics because there's legal prohibitions about that." According to Libertarian politicians in the state, Kennedy's phone call was at least his second to an Iowa congressional candidate this month. Stewart said he has no plan to exit the race. Government ethics experts said Kennedy's apparent intervention in the Iowa races was unethical and potentially illegal. That depends on a few different factors, including whether he promised candidates specific favors and whether he made the calls in his capacity as a cabinet official. Number 6. France's heat wave this week was worse than a dire scenario imagined for the year 2050. In 2014, a fictional French weather forecast was supposed to help the public understand what life might be like on a warmer planet. It was part of a global campaign with about 60 presenters taking part.
Et dans l'après-midi, on atteindra ou dépassera encore les 40 degrés.
That is TV presenter Evelyne Delia presenting the hypothetical forecast for August 17th, 2050. She's predicting temperatures over 40 degrees Celsius in several different parts of France. 40 degrees Celsius is 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, this week, the predictions made in that forecast were exceeded in 19 of France's 34 mainland locations, in some places by more than 20 degrees Fahrenheit. On Wednesday, the temperature soared as high as 112.3 degrees in a southwestern region. France does not have widespread air conditioning. This deadly, record-breaking heat wave is now spreading eastward across Europe. And at number 7, anti-vax dating apps are helping unvaccinated singles couple up. When she was 27 years old, Jenna Betros matched with 28-year-old Corey Deemer on a dating site called Unjected. The pair got married in 2024, and last year they had a son. Jenna describes their family as very pure. Unjected is just one of several platforms which help people who don't trust vaccines to connect. Some who lost their jobs or were shunned after refusing to get the COVID vaccine see their behavior as resilient, so they hope to find like-minded people. Others became tired of seeing notes like "no anti-vaxxers" and "no conspiracy theorists" on conventional dating apps. In other words, it seems like at least some people who did get vaccines weren't too interested in dating those who did not. A quick reminder as you head into your weekend, according to science, the COVID vaccines saved millions of lives. Stay safe out there. That's the show for this week. The staff writers of The Seven are Jamie Ross, Izan Akabau, and me. Rennie Svirnovsky is our producer. John Taylor is our editor. Copy editing by Kendra Nichols, Rebecca Branford, and Brian Malasix. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'll meet you back here on Monday.